Good morning, and this is the Street Preacher, and I'm here to encourage you with some more messages for the street, with more stories and parables and teachings and things that you can relate to help you with your walk with Christ, with your walk with your Heavenly Father, because we all need encouragement some way or another. So today I want to deal with anger and anger through the definition that I received in one of my angry man classes, I call it, or domestic violence classes, and I've been through a few of them with different names. In the military, they call it stress management. Um, One of the definitions that they gave for anger was unmet expectations. We get angry sometimes from unmet expectation. Some say, street preacher, you get angry. Well, by now it should be no surprise. Yes, I've gotten angry and I'm dealing with it a lot better, thanks to God, than I used to deal with it in the past. And some people say you have a small man complex. Okay, well, whatever. But in any case, I'm just here to share some encouraging things with you about how to deal with your anger and get through some situations. And one of the things I did was look up the word expect, because it's the root word expectation. And the word expect in the dictionary says to look on as likely to happen, to look for as do. To look on as likely to happen, to look for as do. Let me read a scripture also in the Bible before I get going here. Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. Ephesians 3, verse 20 reads like this. It says, now to him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think according to the power that works in us. We read it again. Now to him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think according to the power that works in us. And of course, I'm going to get to one of my favorite scriptures that we all love, and you can say it with me. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, and to bring you to an expected end. And the reason why I want to read these two scriptures, because I want us to understand and have that foundation that God has expectations and plans for us. Now, understanding how awesome God is our Father, He expects things for us, but He also knows the past, the present, and the future. And everything God does, He starts at the end. It's a finished work, and then He goes back and starts it. And it seems complex, but it's really not. But in any case, I want to deal with anger now, because this is something that I've dealt with personally. But before I get into my personal stories and things like this to try to help you, encourage you, let me tell you a story of a town that had a monster that stood outside the gate. And that town will always send like knights and different people out to try to fight this monster, because they wanted to go outside of the gate, but they were scared of this monster. And the monster had these magical powers. So the town sent out a few knights, in shining armor. Two or three knights went out, and when the knights went out with their spears and everything, the monster would appear. He would have two spears. So the knight came out with his big sword, and the monster came out with a bigger sword and two swords. So each time they would send out someone with a weapon, the monster just seemed to, to make his bigger or double it or whatever, and he would always defeat them. So the town jester decided, uh, give me a chance. Let me go out there and try to defeat this. Let me try something. And so he went out there with a small thing, a pitcher of water, and two little cupcakes. So he went out there, and the monster appeared in front of the gate, and he handed it to the monster. And the monster then made two big pitchers of water appear and two giant cakes and handed it back to the jester. And from that moment on, it eased the tension of the town that the monster was basically doing what they did to him. So sometimes when we get angry, we're expecting other people The Bible said, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." Sometimes our reaction to what people are doing, we should not allow that to happen. I was just telling my daughter yesterday, I believe, it's not what people call you, but it's what you answer to. Very important. Very words of wisdom, if you ever heard them. It's not what people call you, but it's what you answer to. So if you're not a whore, a slut, a dog, or a bee, and all these things, don't answer to that. You're not stupid, ignorant, or dumb. Don't answer to that. All right? Very important. So this is what helped, but a lot of people get stabbed and shot and killed over somebody calling them names or whatever. That's about childish as it gets, but it's in the time we live in. That's what's happening. We don't expect people what we call to disrespect us. All right. And I want to share something on that about, like I said, we're dealing with anger and how my anger would explode when things that I expected did not happen, things that I perceived in my mind that should happen, or things I was looking for with my eyes that I didn't happen, and I got disappointed. I became very upset or angry. Lord knows when you work all week, you expect your check to be a certain amount, and if it's not, oh yeah, anger. And then things like, all right, I expected, these are little pet peeves, people call them. But at my house and my apartment, when I was a single father, I expected my ice trays to be filled up rather. If you took out 2 or 3 cubes, I expected you to put water back in the ice tray, and if you didn't, I was upset. I expected, and I have trouble with being late. People at my job know that, but I have issues with being late. But if I'm somewhere waiting for somebody to pick me up, or I'm extremely upset if you're late picking me up. I also expect the not to be lied to or stolen from or cheated on. But oh my God, when I would lie, steal, and cheat, I expected not to get caught. I would get upset if I get caught, and then get upset if it was done to me. So you see the importance of expectation. And when you expect certain things, and then I used to expect everybody to believe what I believe. And this message from the street preacher to all of those that out there that are knowledgeable in a subject that I'm not knowledgeable in. I don't know everything. I just have a relationship with my Father in heaven, and I trust the relationship that I have with Him, the things He's given me and shares with me. I know He loves me, He forgives me, and I know He keeps me. So I don't get into a battle of the who's the smartest. I don't get in a battle of he's better. I got to prove that he's better than your God. I used to do that when I first came in. I expect everybody to believe what I was believing. If you didn't, we can fight about it. And I thought that, I look back on that and I laugh now. And I see people now still wanting to argue. I see them arguing on Facebook all the time. And I want to engage in some of these arguments, but, it's not worth it. Really, it's not, because everybody that God has assigned to listen to me or listen to you will listen to you, and I've learned that, and they'll receive it. They'll take it in. You plant the seed, you water, but you can't force no seed on nobody. The person just ain't going. They're going to just reject it, and you wasted time and breath going back and forth arguing with a person about something that they're just not going to take from you. They can't hear it from you, so let them move on. Walk away, avoid it. Go find somebody that will hear. And that's what I've learned. People will come to you. So I don't expect everybody to listen to everything that I believe. Then I also learned, here's one of the major things I learned to deal with my anger. I also learned that everybody that has flesh, that was born of a woman, is human, and they can make mistakes and error, and even myself, I'm human. So I don't expect certain things from myself anymore. I would get upset about. Well, you're human. You got a weakness. You don't know everything. You're gonna make an error or a mistake. You're gonna do something wrong to upset somebody some way, somehow. So now I've learned not to be as surprised about what people will and won't do. It's a tough, little lesson, because you still expect certain things from certain people. But I learned that, can you believe what this person said? Yeah, if they're human, yeah, I can believe it. Can you believe what that person did? Yeah, they're human. Yeah, I can believe it. So I learned not to get so much expectation in a person, even when it comes to the president. They're like, oh, you believe the president did this? Well, the president is a person, and he got other people around him. And so it's not shocking almost anymore. Watching the news, as sad as it seems in this generation, 2016, you watch the news. Or we watch the ID channel a lot too, where you see all the different mystery murders and the things that people are doing and why they do it. It will puzzle you. But we know that there's an enemy and an adversary out there that's evil. The Bible said the devil came to steal, kill, and destroy. If you think the devil is a fairy tale character, I'm trying to tell you, you got a lot to learn. That you're going to call on God one way or another. You need him. That's what the streets need, not the messages about who's the hardest and who's the toughest, and don't let nobody disrespect you. You might want to learn who God is and trust him, because the Bible said that he has an expectation for us and that he can do above and beyond what we ask or think. That's Ephesians 3 and 20. Ephesians 3 and 20, Jeremiah 29:11. Get a chance to read those. Hopefully that would encourage you and help you to deal with some of that anger. Now, but the Bible is not against or understand that we would get angry. Jesus got angry at what the money changers were doing in the temple, because he said that they were appropriating what the temple of God was for. It's his Father's house. It's a house of prayer. You can come in here and talk to the Father. Now you're in here turning into a den of thieves because you're in here selling and buying, exchanging money and stuff. So he was angry, but he didn't sin. The Bible said, be angry, but sin not. And I found out later that anger is actually, I used to pray for years that God take away my anger. I didn't realize that I backslid after 2006, that God had took away my anger, and that he didn't take away my anger as far as me getting upset. But what I did, I took my anger and used it as motivation to get things done, because I used my anger to determine that I would go to college. I finished two colleges, actually two colleges in 1 year. Then the next year I went back and got my bachelor's degree. So I got 3 degrees, college degrees, with a 10th grade education. It's nobody but God. I've traveled around the world in the military, and I've seen things I never thought I would imagine. So I've seen God do exceedingly above and beyond the things that I could even ask or think. Like the expectations, some things I didn't even expect, but God was able to do it. But I've learned over time that these things are going to happen when you put your trust in God. When God will do the unexpected, even when you're not even expecting it. But when you put your trust in people, you get disappointed, you get angry, you get hurt, and you get depressed. Depression comes in with anger too, because one of the definitions I learned for depression was anger turned inward. That means you got upset at yourself. You start beating yourself up, start tearing yourself down on the inside. And then you go into a depression. You sink into a depression. So it's very important when back to the point where Jesus came into the temple and the Bible said, "Be angry and sin not." God, I learned that that anger that I had was used to motivate me to get things done. I wouldn't let things stop me. I failed a class, I take it again at night, or I take it with another teacher, or I take it the next semester. All the obstacles. My counselor didn't like me, and I decided I'm going to keep going anyway. I would be tired and fall asleep in some of my classes. I determined with anger and motivated me, and I pushed and I used it to get through and get things done. And I thank God for that. Well, later in 2006, when I backslid, I found out that I ran into a guy late at night. Some guy knocked on my daughter's window, and I had just not long, probably not a couple of weeks or a month, and I had backslid. And I remember threatening the guy, and they ran. Remember the two guys, and they ran from the back of my building. And I said, "If I catch you, I'm gonna blow your brains out." So I ran around the front of the building. And I see one of the guys stepped out, was hiding behind the dumpster. Another guy stepped out. Well, when I got close to the guy, as you can see, I wear glasses, so I can't see things far away, so I'm nearsighted. When I got close to the guy, I realized the guy was kind of big. And I immediately was thinking, I got to get something for this guy. But usually when I got in the house, I was like, where's my anger? I said, usually I would go in, I'm upset, what happened to my anger? I said, God, all this time you took my anger and I didn't realize it. And then later God showed me something with one of my son's friends. My son is locked up. One of his friends saw me, and he was saying that he just got out of jail himself, but my son is in prison, but he got out of jail. And his friend said that I wish your son was here, because if he was here, I knew he could handle this situation for me and it wouldn't be like that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, he won't call him or write him or say anything, to help him at this time. And he got all this time. My son got all this time in jail, but he wanted to use his hurt and his anger to hurt somebody else. And that's when I realized God began to teach me that when I ran into the situation with that guy, is that all the times that I was holding on to God and doing the right thing, and I thought that I had an anger problem, well, it was being used to motivate me to do some good things and not negative. My anger was not there to hurt no one. And it took me a while, man. And I had backslid for a couple of years in 2006. But first thing I said, I gotta get my anger back. I needed to find a reason to be upset and a reason to hurt somebody. And it took a while because God he taken it away. What he did, he had a purpose for the anger. He didn't totally just take it from me. He just had to redirect it. The Holy Spirit guided me and redirected it. But it wasn't there for destructive or negative purposes. And even though I felt like it was still there at times, I felt like, hey, if my family's in trouble, I'm going to help them. I'm gonna hurt somebody before they hurt me, or I'm ready to rumble. And the whole time, the Holy Spirit was showing me how He guided me and used that for a positive purpose. So your anger, when you're expecting things, God can deal with that anger and use it for positive things. It's not there for you. God is not expecting you to hurt people with it. All right. So I just want to encourage the street with that message for those that deal with anger. You don't have to go out and shoot nobody, stab nobody, kill nobody, cuss nobody out, make nobody feel lower than low with your words, and words do hurt. You can turn to God, and God has expectation for you with gifts and talents and purposes and things that He got to help you to be a blessing to many people. And like I said, if you're still here listening, still watching, I know He got purpose for your life. I just know that for a fact because you can still hear, you can still listen, you can still watch, even if you can read mouths. Some people can do that. But just be encouraged and to know that God has a plan for your life and that anger can be used for the glory, for the good that God has for His kingdom to help someone else. So y'all be encouraged. Signing off from the street preacher.